We often hear the phrase, "When you know, you know." But in the quiet space between what we feel and what we ignore, we sometimes forget that not knowing is also an answer. Recognizing that someone is not meant for you is not weakness, it is clarity. It's the moment you stop trying to make chaos into peace and instead start choosing peace over chaos. Here are 6 signs that a girl is not the one for you, not from a place of resentment or blame, but from the calm truth of observation and self-respect. 1. She plays mind games or uses manipulation. Love is not chess. It's not about strategic silence, passive-aggressive tests, or invisible points scored through guilt. If a girl is using manipulation to control the emotional climate of the relationship, guilt-tripping you into submission, giving you the silent treatment to assert power, creating confusion instead of clarity, that's not love. That's control in disguise. You deserve transparency. You deserve a connection where communication isn't a weapon, but a bridge. When games become the language of love, you are not in love. You are in a competition with no prize worth winning. Mind games erode your peace, not suddenly, but subtly. You start to second-guess your instincts. You begin to walk on eggshells, trying to avoid setting her off. You become less of yourself in the name of keeping the relationship alive. But no relationship is worth the burial of your truth. The woman meant for you will not ask you to play games. She will meet you with honesty, not tactics. 2. She is emotionally reactive, not responsive. Every relationship faces conflict, but the difference between a strong relationship and a destructive one lies in how conflict is handled. If she reacts with volatility, overreaction, or cold silence when things go wrong, she is not resolving. She is avoiding. There's a difference between feeling deeply and responding wisely. Emotionally reactive people cannot hold space for dual truths. It's either their way or no way. Their feelings become the only reality, and any attempt to discuss, reason, or reflect is met with defensiveness or shutdown. Being with someone emotionally reactive is like living in a storm. You're never sure what will trigger the lightning. So you dim your light. You shrink your truth. You avoid conflict not because there is peace, but because you're afraid of what peace will cost. But a woman who is meant for you will not use anger or silence as weapons. She will listen. She will regulate. She will value truth over ego. A love that cannot hold conflict is a love that cannot grow. 3. She avoids accountability and blames others. A girl who cannot say, "I was wrong," is not someone who will ever truly see you. When someone refuses to take ownership of their choices, when they constantly blame their past, their exes, their family, their stress, they are telling you that growth is not their priority. They're committed to self-protection, not self-reflection. You'll find yourself constantly being the emotional janitor, cleaning up the messes left behind by someone who never intends to pick up a broom. This isn't partnership. It's emotional labor without reciprocity. Accountability is the soil of a healthy relationship. Without it, trust cannot grow. Because trust is not just about faithfulness, it's about emotional integrity. It's about knowing that when something goes wrong, both people will face it, not flee from it. The girl who is for you will be more committed to the truth than to being right. 4. She's overly jealous or controlling. Insecure love disguises itself as intensity. It says things like, "I just care too much," or "I can't help it if I get jealous." But real love does not limit, it expands. If she monitors your social life, dictates who you can talk to, accuses you without cause, or punishes you for having a life outside of her, this is not love. This is fear trying to wear love's face. A controlling partner isn't trying to love you better. She's trying to manage her anxiety through dominance. But your freedom is not a threat. It's part of what makes you whole. The right relationship will never make you choose between your identity and your connection. The girl who is for you will never see your independence as competition. She will not chain you to her fears. She will walk beside you, not behind you holding a leash. 5. She cannot regulate her emotions. She shifts from cold to hot in extremes. A relationship should feel safe, consistent, predictable in its care. But when you're with someone emotionally unstable, the highs feel like heaven, and the lows feel like drowning. One day, you are everything. The next, you are nothing. This emotional volatility becomes addictive. You begin to mistake intensity for intimacy. You deserve someone whose love is not a gamble. Emotional regulation is not a luxury. It is a necessity. A partner who can't regulate their emotions will place you on an emotional roller coaster you never agreed to ride. You'll find yourself over-functioning to stabilize what they cannot, but it's not your job to manage another person's emotional weather. Stability isn't boring. It's safe. It's where growth happens. If she cannot offer you emotional consistency, she is not prepared to build anything of substance with you. 6. She is emotionally unavailable, despite claiming otherwise. Perhaps the most confusing dynamic is when someone says they want a deep connection, but when vulnerability arrives, they vanish. Emotional unavailability is not always loud. Sometimes it comes dressed in ambition, busyness, or even spiritual language, but the result is the same. When it's time to open up, to go deeper, to truly connect, she changes the subject. She detaches. She offers vague answers. She keeps you in limbo, close enough to hope, far enough to hurt. You find yourself pouring into a well that never fills. You try harder, give more, become emotionally generous in the hopes that she will finally meet you halfway. But she won't. Not because she can't feel, but because she refuses to sit with her own wounds long enough to share them honestly. You deserve a woman who does not flinch at intimacy, who doesn't run when things get real, who shows up not just in moments of pleasure, but in moments of presence. In the end, love is not proven through pain. It is revealed through peace. These signs are not meant to vilify anyone, but to awaken you to the truth that peace is a non-negotiable standard, not a bonus. When you recognize these patterns, you are not being judgmental. You are being responsible for your heart, your energy, your future. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is walk away from what doesn't love you in return. A relationship isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who reflects the completeness you've already built within yourself. A girl who is not for you will always leave you feeling like you're not enough. Not because you aren't, but because she is not ready to receive what you have to give. You don't have to fix, chase, or prove your worth to be loved. You only have to see clearly and walk away when your peace is the price. Because the girl who is truly for you will never make you doubt your value. She will protect your heart as if it were her own, and she will never ask you to become less just to keep her.